but it came in at 109 grams, which is 8 grams heavier than my Easton.
So now that we established that I don't really care about the few puny grams, this is the latest thing I picked up to put on my bike. So that was, as you probably already figured out, the KMC X11SL Gold chain. Of course, it's actually not real gold, it's the titanium nitride coating that gives it that nice goldy shine. Now, here in Japan, these KMC chains are incredibly expensive. I always wanted to try one of these chains here, but the list price in Japan is 14,000 yen, and I can get the Dura Ace / XTR chain for around 4,200 yen, and that's like $38 US. So as much as I really wanted to try one, I couldn't really justify that insane price. But if you're in the US or anywhere else besides Japan, then you can find these KMC chains about the same price as the Dura Ace chain. It might be a few dollars more expensive for the gold version, but the silver version should be available for around the same price, if I'm not mistaken. So last week I came across an online retailer on Rakuten that actually sold this 113 link chain plus the quick link, or the missing link as they call it, without retail packaging for around 7,000 yen. And that's still about $65 or $67 US. So it's definitely still not cheap, but it was enough to make me pull the trigger. It had nothing to do with the potential weight saving. First things first, I gave the chain a nice bath to get rid of that factory grease. Then, just to be as informative as possible, I weighed the chain uncut with the included quick link, and it came in at 235 grams. My current Shimano Dura Ace chain actually happens to be 113 links as well, plus that quick link, and that's the length I needed to be able to handle my 46 cassette. That one came in at 247 grams. Quick side note, never remove a dirty chain after a ride, put it in a plastic bag and forget to clean it, because when you pull it out of the bag a week later, it will be rusty as hell. I had to go totally crazy with degreaser and steel wool to get it somewhat presentable for this video. But yeah, live and you learn. So one of the many ideas I got from the comments on my crazy chain cleaning video was to use two chains and alternate between the two, so you always had a nice clean chain to put on the bike. So in this case, I'm taking that idea and modifying it a bit. So I have my old Shimano chain, although I might have to buy a new one there as well, for my 46 cassette, and I will use this new KMC chain for my road wheels, which is a 40 cassette. To get the correct length, I put the chain on the big cog on the cassette, then I bypassed the rear mech, threaded the chain over the chain ring, and where the chain met, I added 4 links, or counted 4 pins, and that's where I cut the chain. That meant I could remove another 2 links from the chain, although 1 link will be added because of the quick link. Since I need the inner plate ends to be able to use the missing link, an extra gram or so, but who's counting? Not me. One good thing about that though is I should be able to use this chain on my 42 cassette as well. So so is that. The weight is definitely not important for me, but as I want to be as informative as possible, cutting off those 2 links actually brought the chain weight down to 231 grams. That would mean 16 grams less weight on the bike if anyone's counting. One thing I should mention about the included quick link, or the missing link as KMC calls it, is that it's a one-use link only. And in reality, I found with at least the one-use Shimano links, I can use them without problems many times. But if something fails, you can't really blame KMC for it. They do, however, sell a 2-pack with reusable links as well. So as you can see here, there are a slight difference between the 2 links. So it could be a good idea to pick up one of those reusable packs as well. And since you get 2 of them, you can always put 1 in your spares. So if something happens out on the road, you're safe. This won't be a scientific test at all, purely subjective. I will head out for a ride and I will put on the same lube I use for my old chain, the Muck-Off C3 dry lube, just for consistency, as I want to compare it to my old chain, how it shifts, and the most important point for me, if it's noisier or not. I will start using squirt wax lube eventually. That was the most common recommendation I got from my chain cleaning video, so thank you for that, everyone. I'm on my last bottle of Muck-Off, and after that I will move over to squirt, I promise. So let's head on out. So we had a lucky break in the rainy season. So been out at about 120k ride, feeling out the new chain. I thought I would actually come away from this saying like, you have that extra 16 grams of weight saving, and for that you would have to pay with a little bit of extra noise. And I was prepared to accept that it was actually quieter than the Shimano chain I used before. That chain is a bit worn, so that could definitely have something to do with it, but I didn't experience any more extra noise, so to speak. And the shifting was also spot on, really smooth up and down. The only problem is, like I explained before, these chains are a lot more expensive here in Japan, but if you live in the US, just check Amazon.com and you will see that these X11SL chains are about the same price as the Dura Ace/XTR chains. So if you want to bling it up a bit, look pretty, could be a nice option. To be quite honest, I'm not quite decided if I like the gold or not more than the silver one. But yeah, the silver one is a bit cheaper as well, so that could be an option for next time, depending on how this turns out. The punched holes you have in the plates means that it would probably attract a bit more dirt as well. So if you're not on top of your chain cleaning, it could actually be a bit more pain in the ass to keep this clean. But if you're like me and wash the chain basically after every ride, I don't see this being more annoying than the Shimano chain. So speaking of which, it's time for me to head home and scrub my chain and my bike. If you found this helpful or interesting in any way, feel free to leave a like, it's always appreciated. And subscribe if you want more of this kind of nerdy stuff in all different flavors. And if you do, I will catch you in the next one. We might tackle another noise problem. Until then, peace. Damn, it's windy.